At 2:48 a.m., a catastrophic event unfolded over the Crimean city of Sarapole, as a $15 million Russian air defense system exploded after an internal launch tube detonation caused by a fire control overload. This devastating incident was the culmination of a carefully orchestrated Ukrainian operation that involved a sophisticated mix of deception, electronic warfare, and artificial intelligence, working together in a single lethal sequence. From the dense fog covering Sarapole's skyline, the camera zooms in on the silhouette of the Russian air defense system, its operators preparing for an incoming threat. The calm before the storm is shattered as the air defense system powers up and detects approaching targets in the foggy night. However, as the countdown begins, the threat isn't what it appears to be. Ukrainian operators stationed near Kherson had launched 5 Boba drones, 4 of which acted as decoys, while the 5th and advanced Ghost Bomber drone served as the command and control center, directing the entire operation. The drones launched from a concealed position, soared into the fog, their silhouettes barely visible against the dense mist, while the Ghost Bomber transmitted false radar signals to confuse Russian defenses. The first decoy drone, a mere misdirection, detonated a harmless warhead on a communication antenna, further adding to the chaos. Meanwhile, Russian soldiers in trenches blindly fired into the fog, unaware that they were not under attack from the drones, but rather from a far more dangerous and invisible force. The decoy drones continued to fly undetected, and the Ghost Bomber expertly maneuvered them, keeping them out of harm's way while coordinating their movements to perfection. The Russian radar operators, unable to differentiate between real targets and the misleading signals generated by the Ghost Bomber, began to fire missiles and autocannons blindly into the mist. Despite their desperate attempts to strike the drones, the Ukrainian team maintained control. One decoy drone dodged a missile, executing a sharp evasive maneuver while the other drones remained under the Ghost Bomber's control, performing complex evasive actions to evade the incoming fire. Despite some drones being hit, the Ghost Bomber's precise maneuvers ensured that most remained unscathed. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian HIMARS system, using the distraction created by the drones, prepared to launch its ATACMS missile at Sarapole. As the decoy drones continued their aerial ballet, evading further missile fire and confusing the Russian defenses, the ATACMS missile was launched and rapidly gained speed. The Ghost Bomber's deception worked perfectly, as Russian radar systems were unable to lock onto the real missile strike, while they were still dealing with the phantom targets created by the decoys. The ATACMS missile, fired from the Ukrainian HIMARS system, soared through the sky and was on course to strike its target Sarapole's central defense hub and fuel depot. As the missile closed in, the Russian operators scrambled in vain to respond, but their attempts to intercept it were futile. The missile impacted the target with devastating precision, creating an explosion that obliterated everything in its path. A massive fireball erupted from the fuel depot, registering as a seismic event visible for miles, as 840 tons of diesel ignited in a cataclysmic burst. The destruction was total, and Sarapole, along with its surrounding base and defense systems, ceased to exist. The explosion decimated the Russian Central Air Defense Nerve Center, costing them over $35 million in assets. Russian forces were left in disarray, with 4 brigades immobilized by the destruction of their fuel depot. The Ukrainian forces had successfully carried out a brilliant tactical operation that crippled the Russian defenses and struck a devastating blow to their operations. As dawn broke, the aftermath was clear. Sarapole lay in ruins, its radar systems destroyed, and its fuel supply wiped out. The Russian forces, scattered in confusion, could only watch as their defensive capabilities were decimated. The leak of the Ghost Bomber's live footage, showing the scale of the destruction, sent shockwaves across the world. Despite the Kremlin's attempts to downplay the attack, the footage revealed the truth, forcing Russia into a costly arms race to counter future operations. Russian military officials, visibly shaken by the psychological impact of the attack, began to question their defense systems as the world saw the vulnerability of their operations. The live footage, showing high-definition details of the missile strike and the destruction of the fuel depot, was broadcast globally, causing panic and paranoia within Russian ranks. As international reactions flooded in, Russia realized the strategic implications of the leak. In an attempt to mitigate the damage, Russia began to reassess its military strategies, pushing their engineers to upgrade their systems and develop new countermeasures to prevent similar attacks in the future. The Ghost Bomber's success had not only crippled the Russian military's operational capabilities, but had also shifted the balance of psychological and strategic power. The footage of the attack would haunt Russian military leaders for years to come, as they faced an expensive and accelerated arms race to defend against future drone strikes. The attack marked the beginning of a new era in warfare, one in which electronic warfare, deception, and artificial intelligence will play critical roles in shaping the future of military operations. Russian officials, forced into denial and concerned by the scale of the destruction, found themselves at a crossroads. The impact of the attack was clear. Russia's once unquestioned dominance in the region had been shattered, and Ukraine had shown the world the power of a well-executed, technologically advanced military operation. As the world watched, the dawn of a new era in warfare had begun, one where the psychological, strategic, and technological implications would echo for years to come.